The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Queensland Tourism Awards webinar for first-time entrants. My name is Mike Mahoney, and I'll be your webinar convener for today. I'm actually conducting this webinar from my office today. However, we do have QTIC staff online, logged in from their offices in Brisbane, who will be able to assist with any questions that I don't have the information for. Before we begin today, just some housekeeping for the webinar before we start. I can see the list of attendees on the side of my screen, but I naturally can't see you. Also, at this stage of the webinar, your microphones are muted, so I'm unable to hear you, and I'll explain a little later as to when we can unmute them for further questions. Hopefully by now you are all able to see and hear me. Just in regard to questions for today, the format we're using due to the number of attendees and we'll be asking you if you have questions, if you could type them in the space that says questions on the side of your screen, and I'll answer them as we go, in some cases at the end. In addition to this, we have the option at the end of the presentation for me to unlock your microphone. So if you have anything you want to ask verbally, just type in the questions, please unlock my microphone, and I'll unlock it, and then we can have a little chat online. Following the webinar, we've actually, I think they've already gone out. Yes, we've already sent out copies of this presentation to you, which might reduce the need to make notes line by line. So why are we here today? Well, as you're aware, this webinar is designed to assist those entrants that have not previously entered the awards, who would like to gain an insight in the regards to the awards process, and maybe to better understand the process and to understand ways to increase their chance of success, which I think everybody is online for. So the objective today is not to tell you how to answer the questions or give you the answers, but more to, I suppose, demystify the awards process, which sometimes at first glance can be quite daunting. If we look at why we actually have the awards in the first place, naturally, from your point of view, the operator, the entrant, the main incentive is to win an award. From an industry point of view, the events program at both state and national level is to raise the bar in the quality of tourism product offered in the marketplace. The mere fact that you are entering the awards recognises your company as a company which is committed to raising that bar and the level of professionalism we offer to our customers in the experiences we offer. Hopefully, you will find the process process of entering is one that enhances the management and performance of your business. So it far exceeds just the winning of your category. Hopefully also that this webinar will highlight some of the benefits. Some of those benefits maybe we don't think of when we're entering the awards process. So today we'll look at a number of things. We'll look at the effort versus the benefits of time and effort you have to put in. We'll look at the balance between the effort of entering and the benefits to be gained from an entry. We'll then look at the judges and the judging process, if you like. Who are they? And how do they judge? We'll look at this is quite important. I know when you're entering for the first time, what are the judges looking for? This is where we will look at the, if you like, the DNA of the judging process and give you a better understanding and hopefully make it a little easier in that area. We'll look at the questions and just how the structure of the questions work and the areas of importance, I suppose. Hopefully, I'll provide you with some useful tips, and hopefully these will not only make the process a little easier, but also will assist in making your entry a true contender rather than just an also-ran, if you like. And finally, we'll look at the new accreditation requirements, which have been introduced from 2016, for 2016 and on, so for the first time this year. So hopefully that will benefit. So just before we start, for those of you that don't know me, so you know who you're listening to, Mike Mahoney. I operate a tourism management consultancy called Extra Mile Tourism Management. I have 35 years of experience in development and management of tourism products. I was the general manager of Thredbo Alpine Village in New South Wales. I project managed the development of Skyrail Rainforest Cableway in Cairns, and after it was complete, I then managed the cableway for the first 4 years of its operation. I was Director of International Marketing and International Operations for Tourism and Events Queensland, which a role I had for nine years. I then started my own business, and we actually, after our first year, we moved our office to the Middle East, where I developed a number of dynamic tourism operations in places like the United Arab Emirates, including Ski Dubai, the world's largest indoor snow experience, skiing in the desert. I also developed iFly Dubai, which is 2 indoor skydiving centres, and we did a number of theme parks around the MENA region. 6 years ago now, we moved our office back to Australia, and are assisting operators in either development of their product or improving of the management of their businesses on a consultancy basis. I've been a judge for 4 years for the Queensland Tourism Awards and for the National Awards for 3 years. So I've got quite a bit of experience, and hopefully in the judging process, if you like. So hopefully that will be beneficial to you today. So just looking at the effort versus rewards of entering. And it brings up the question, should I spend my time entering the awards, which is quite time consuming, or should I improve the management of my business? It's a very good question. It's one I'd certainly ask myself if I was in your shoes. And the answer is that the actual entering process each year can in fact improve the management of your business and make you look at the management structure of your business in a more detailed and methodical manner. So let's look into some of those which would make that statement that it's worthwhile, appropriate. Actually, in needing to enunciate your planning process each year, whether your planning process is a major document with lots of detail, or whether it's a simple, small document. The process of entering creates a discipline in the management of your business, of reviewing those plans each year. As we all know, writing a plan is only part of the process. Utilisation or implementation of a plan is what makes the planning process effective. So the awards process if integrated into your general operations of business, can create structural disciplines into the management process, and very, it's proving very beneficial, which I can identify to you later. Identifying your target markets, and here we're not just talking about listing the consumers that visit your product or experience, which, by the way, is quite a common error in people's entries, is give us a list of who their customers are, but identifying which markets you've identified that your product experience meets the requirements of, and how you're addressing those markets. It indicates to the judges that there's a formal process in how you gain your consumers and how you're managing effectively your addressing to the consumer and your marketing, etc., and things like that. It's a great way to improve your business model. In today's highly competitive marketplace, the level of innovation in the development of your product offering can play a significant role in the development of your business. Keeping your business fresh and at the cutting edge of consumer offering is a requirement in today's competitive market. And often, if you take out the awards process, it's often something we don't ask ourselves each year. The question of, am I doing enough innovations to keep myself on there? It's important to note that I'm not just talking about large infrastructure. It can be very low cost, small innovative ideas that enhance your customer experience. In fact, some of the best we read are ideas that cost very little money, but a very leading edge or cutting edge, if you like, in the competitive marketing set that particular product's in. So innovation is very, very important. The provision of high quality customer service is a vital component of our business in this environment, and it doesn't matter whether you're a large team or a husband and wife four-wheeled small operation, which a lot of our businesses and our winners are. So no tourism business is fully automated. All require personnel to interact with the consumers. So large or small, a team is a team. So when we really need to get the feeling in entries about how you manage your team. Sustainability. Sustainability is a word that's used a lot in discussing about how we operate in the tourism industry in this day and age. And we're not just talking about the sustainability in regard to the environment, which is very important, but also how sustainable is your business? How well managed is it, so that you'll not only win an award this year, but you'll be around next year. So if we look at some of the type of things winners say, so this isn't our comments, this isn't the judges' comments or TQ's comments, this is ones that are made by actual entrants. It gets us into the mode of business planning. It actually is a discipline. It forces us to really look at how we plan our business. In our industry, which is very customer focused, business planning sometimes becomes a secondary mindset in regard to the management of our business. And the discipline each year of doing your entry and making sure your business planning is a really good reminder, if you like. It gives us third-party recognition. It's great to have independent evaluation of how well your business is doing. It's just that third party, someone that's not involved with your business, giving you critique, if you like. It encourages us self-improvement. It makes us say to ourselves, think about constantly questioning ourselves, if you like, about how we operate our business and what do we offer, and is that keeping up with the market? So again, our winners find this a very effective discipline in the awards process. It's a tremendous motivational tool. The winners that win consistently constantly remind us that they use the entry process and any success they have in the awards as a motivational tool for the staff. So very important that the staff become very involved with it, not just one individual. It assists us in establishing credibility in the industry. It improves our credibility with organisations such as Tourism Australia, Tourism Events Queensland, and major industry suppliers. People like dealing with award winners. It's like having the heart tick. It's something that allows us to really gain credibility within people that we rely on, people and organisations that we rely on. It allows, especially small businesses, to get greater and greater exposure. Probably exposure that you could never get in any other form in the industry. And it gets us to thinking where our business could be the best in Queensland, could be seen in our category as the best in Queensland. And if we go on to the national awards, we could be seen as the best in our category in Australia. And again, a tremendous motivational tool. Now, there are quite a number of winners that have helped us by contributing how they see the effects has been on their business. And there's far too many to list here, otherwise we'd use the whole time of our webinar. But if you go to the web page, you'll see these testimonials, and you'll see that there's a lot more than just winning a gong on the night. There's a lot more leverage that you can gain out of these things, and I'd highly recommend that. And I'll list all where at the end of the webinar where you can source this type of information. But it's well worth taking a read even before you start to write the document. And finally, it allows, people sometimes say only big corporations win. Well, so do small operators. A lot of our winners, small family operated businesses, one or two staff. It's not, judges have no mindset, especially in some categories, such as adventure tourism or categories like that, where they're looking for innovation, they're looking for raising that bar, not necessarily that it is a very large corporate product. So you really need to remember that this is a much wider set of awards than just patting large companies on the back, if you like. Anybody can be a contender, especially in, as I said, a number of categories. So let's look at the balance of the question of to enter or not to enter. First off, if we look at being a winner, if we're lucky enough to be a winner in our category, we get up there in front of the industry, and we get our trophy, and everybody's happy. We all have a great night, but that's fairly small value when you consider that if you add to this the time taken, sort of balances that out, and the fact that, gee, that's a fairly expensive effort in just to have a good night. If we add to that the cost of the entry, that's the cost in your time and effort, it again swings the scales to probably maybe I shouldn't enter. And if you then add the focus required to produce an effort, so lots of people in your organisation being focused on having a great entry, it sort of unbalances it to say, maybe we should reconsider this. However, if you look at adding the PR value, as I stated previously, of the PR value into direct to consumers, to major operators in the industry, to the statutory authorities, to the government authorities, to major wholesalers, the PR factor, then you start to put some more weight on to enter. And if you then look at what it does with your team and the prestige of people working at an award-winning product, you start to look at a real worthwhile balance. So it's not just about winning a trophy. It's far more than that. It's far more in the actual positioning of your business in the industry. So it strongly swings the scales to the entry. So if you enter, you're gonna be judged. So if we look at the judges, because people say I'm going to be judged, who is judging me? Are the judges sarcastic people like some people I'd see on TV? Are they crazy, or are they just obnoxious? Well, actually, the judges are none of these. The judging panel is made up, a very good-looking panel there, is made up of a group of experienced and dedicated members of the industry who are willing to give something back to the industry. So many of our judges are operating their own businesses within the industry or hold senior management positions within the industry. Therefore, the time commitment bears a significant cost to either the judge personally or to their employer. So the judge's experience, just to give an example, I haven't yet got it for the current judges here, but in 2015, as an example, the judges had a combined experience in tourism of 330 years. So the judges come from a varied section of the industry: hotels, attractions, resorts, tours, etc. And they're mixed within the team, so you provide different perspectives when they're judging submissions. So you're not being judged by three hoteliers, as an example. You're being judged by a combination. These judges commit to depending on where they have to go in the state, they can commit to between 5 and 7 days of site visits, where they visit your experience and basically confirm what the actual experience physically is, and that's in most categories. Some of the categories, such as events, you can't, because it's not within the judging period. They don't have site visits, but when looking at the site visits, it's very important to understand. Well, I'll tell you the issue. The issue in regard to site visits is often that a new entrant will put massive effort into the site visit and very little effort into the written submission. It's very important to understand that the site visit is only one component. You've got 3 judges' marks, which are then overlaid on the site visit. So whilst your site visit is important to show your product or experience in the best light, it is also important to understand the importance of the written submission, and also that they match, because it then becomes I suppose the confirmation part of that. They then commit to 6 days of written submission judging. So during this involves being locked away in a room at the auditors, with the auditors in the room, to whereby the judges have to read and judge each submission. Each category is judged by 3 individual judges, and any marked differences in those judges is questioned and reviewed by the auditor. So it's a very strictly audited process, and QTIC manage this to the nth degree, just from fairness, but from a point of view from the entrants. And they do all of this on a voluntary basis, so we don't get paid. The judges read and judge an average of 3 categories. There's an average of 12 entries per category. Everybody uses the 30 pages. So in the judging process, in those 6 days, they read about 1,000 pages each. So I'm just giving you that information so you understand, you know, what a judge goes through in that area. So what are the judges looking for? Well, first of all, they're looking for a winner. When we're, if you like, putting our critique eyes on the product, we're searching for a winner. We can't leave that room at the end of the day and say, oh, I couldn't decide. They have to find a winner. So we're looking from a very positive point of view. We're looking for the best of the best, not looking to critique you in a negative manner. We're looking for a wow factor. Many entries are great products, so they're looking for, you know, we're looking for a real point of difference. We're looking for really something special. And, you know, it's, as I say, it's raising that bar in the industry. And we're also looking for nationals ready. We, you know, Queensland want to win lots of national awards. So we're looking for someone that could maybe go on and win a national award. Should remember that in the national awards, the judges may not be previously aware of your product or even the region in which you're in. So again, a lot of thought into the written submission. Don't assume that everybody knows everything about your region. When you think of a judge judging your product, you should think of them judging your entry, but in that category, they're probably judging 10 or 11 or 12 other products in that same category. So some may say the hard part is writing it. All the judges have to do is read it. Well, as you can see, it's a little more complex than that. You've got to judge each question you answer against the questions from those other entries in that category. So some helpful tips. So first off, before you start, make a plan. To start typing with question 1 and just keep going tends to make the answers very long and also a tedious task for you. It can quite even mean that the documentation at the end of your entry is maybe not quite as crisp and clear as maybe at the start of your entry. So setting out a plan is a good first start before you start writing. And by the way, you know, I hear many times, wow, this is a winning entry, as people start to read something and by the end they're a little disappointed. So that is quite common. So getting that consistency throughout the document is really important. So let's look at the person, which is probably some of you that are going to have the task of actually managing the entry and even writing it. Here we can see this young lady who's volunteered, been delegated, instructed or cajoled into managing the entry process. You can see how excited she is. What's involved? When when she's answering, she's got to answer four question categories, and each of those have an average of 4 parts. So as you can see already, it's quite an onerous task. When you or even daunting task when you're doing it for the first time. So let's start by just giving you a simple outline to what we're talking about with the plan. First, take each individual question. So take a question and say, for that question, who is the best person within our organisation to provide, to be either the author or to provide information on that particular question. So generate that answer. It might be a single person or it might be a number of the members of your team. You then need to look, you should list the top 3 messages that you would like to make in the answer. You might make 5 or 6. All I'm saying is be very focused with the messages that you put in there. It needs to be a clear message, and we're looking for that point of difference. So it needs to be a strong message. And often if you try and put 20 reasons for success in that area, you might find you tend to be weaker. Whereas if you choose the key points, if you like, and only add them, it tends to be the way to go. Very focused. And then look at what images do I have that demonstrate that those areas of success in answering the question. Make sure that it is a flowing story. So sometimes we see entries that's not relative to the dialogue that's on that page. So people are talking about their newly renovated rooms, and the shot there is of the cocktail bar or the swimming pool or the beach. If the images should support what you've got on the page in regard to dialogue. It just makes the whole thing flow. Also, if you're doing that, if you're using that formula in making sure that what you are showing is what you're also talking about, it allows you to use less words. I think I mentioned before that the judges have to read 1,000 pages. So if you can, for instance, instead of showing or having 3 paragraphs describing the new pool that you've just built in your resort, half a paragraph and a great photograph of that pool tells the same story, and therefore gives you more room for other information. We often see documents that are very word heavy, and even though they are word heavy, they sometimes don't give the clear explanation or the clear answer in regard to the question. Just try and keep this going again. An example, also having the correct category. An example of this would be, a B&B. Whilst it may be unique in their region, you need to be compared universally. So make sure that you're entering the correct category. Might be better in unique accommodation or certain. And the QTIC staff can give you good advice on this. Also, make sure that when you're doing multiple entries, and we sometimes see restaurants, for instance, entered, as well as an overall accommodation entry. So they're entering a resort, but they're also entering the restaurant, but they just send in the one entry. So it's bear in mind, you might get the same judge judging the two different categories. So it needs to be a unique entry. So we need to make sure we're comparing apples with apples, not parts of, as it sometimes is the case. The next part, as I've mentioned before, is a number of the questions are multiple part questions. What needs to be remembered is each of these parts carries points. So each part has an infinite number of points. So point A has 10 points. If you don't answer B or part of C or whatever, we can't give you points. We can't give you extra points because you got an excellent answer on A. There's a maximum number of points on each side. So, it can be the case where a product which isn't maybe as good as yours and doesn't have as much to offer in regard to that particular question still beats you because they've answered each section. So make sure that your answer clearly, if a question has 4 parts, that it's clear which part is being answered, and that you do that makes it easy for the judge to gain your answer, but it also makes it a lot easier for you as a discipline of, yes, I've answered all 3 parts, so I have the opportunity to gain points from each of those parts. The next point is something that some entrants find amazing, but hard to believe. It is a spelling bee. We do. While it might seem unimaginable that a submission would be made with spelling and grammar issues, it's quite common, to be quite honest. And there's nothing we can do about it. We can't change the document. We can't ignore it. Whilst there's no actual physical point loss, naturally it affects the judge's decision on how professional this organisation is. So Spellcheck is very important. I'm the worst speller in the world, so Spellcheck is essential. Next is the amount of words. Remembering the limit of 30 pages, but it's 1,000 pages for a judge. So the more concise you can be with your answer and clear, that it will be. And remember that going over in the number of pages now has point reductions. So just remember that it's nothing to do with the judges, the auditors. If you go over, they'll take off points. Next thing is keeping the document consistent. Consistency in such things as number of rooms or guests. It's very important that there's consistency right throughout the document. An example would be in the initial product description, the product is described as a 35-room property, and later in the document it reads that all 40 rooms are air conditioned, and that might be because just recently you've done an extension or whatever. But make sure information, numbers, statements are consistent throughout the document, especially if you've got multiple authors, multiple writers. Make sure that, bear in mind how much the judges again have to read. Make sure they can see the forest from the trees. A good rule to use is a 1 read rule. Full corporate comprehension of 1 read through of the document. To be quite honest, the judges don't have the time to reread a page. So if they can't get your message in 1 read through, you tend to miss out on points. The next is to put your best foot forward. writing lots of word-heavy documents, filling the page with micro detail, telling me how great your business is, or how great you are, or whatever it may be, but great detail, can often sometimes miss out on clarity, but also readability and brand positioning. You don't have room to show me a nice picture of your new lagoon pool, or your new four-wheel drive vehicle, or Segway, or whatever it may be. And bear in mind, this becomes even more important when we're looking at the national national awards, because they need to get the real feeling of your business. They might not be aware of anything about you or your region or your type of operation. So the more readability and I suppose a bit of wow factor as against a boring long document for lots of people to read. Wow, this is a great product. It deserves to win an award. So it is an important part of the process. Consider using tables. Make it easy for the judge. I don't mean these type of tables. I mean tables which will show us, for instance, how your business plan works, how your objective, your strategy, your actions and results, so we can see very clearly. And to be quite honest, when you're looking at that, a judge doesn't have to spend a lot of time on each box. Analysing is that a great process, but it shows you have a structured process in how you address your consumer. The next point would be judge yourself. Write the document, write your entry, and then read it carefully. A good tip is to leave it a couple of days between writing and reading, and you'll be amazed at the things you pick up, leaving this time lag between the putting all the effort in writing, and it might be a section, not the whole document, that you'll find. Then when you've done that, read it carefully again. A good idea here is to have someone independent, not involved with the writing of your business, may not even be involved with the management of your business, but an independent that can look at the document and say, does that reflect that business? When you've done that, read it again carefully and make sure that your management team have read it, that they believe it really reflects the brand positioning and what they want as an entry. I personally have had it where entries have been judged not as winners, and management, because of people I know in the industry, have come up to me and said, "Oh, I can't understand why we didn't win." And I know the product personally, being very good, and yet I also know that their entry was full of mistakes, or didn't have any images, or didn't, had grammar, had repeat paragraphs, things like that. How could they possibly win? So that manager obviously wasn't aware of what his entry was in. Also, it's important that the management not only delegate the task to you, if that's the case, but they become familiar with the process, because it's a lot of work for you to do. So they need to understand, the values or the efforts that you have to put in, and maybe highlight to them in the process what can happen if you're successful to the business, because it would be hoped that most managers understand that. But we do see cases where that's not the case, and even when they win, they're not utilising it fully. And I'll discuss that in the next couple of slides. Next thing I would say is make part of your process a simple checklist. You've done everything on the checklist, and it's just a simple discipline. You probably do it in every area of your business, but often people don't do it in the awards process. That you can maybe use this checklist if you like. This you've had it sent to you in the slides. So if you just want to use this, or you can make up your own and edit. But some of the points are: make sure you're in the correct category. So talk to QTIC staff if you're not sure. Follow the rules. Have I followed the rules when I'm doing this? Have I made sure it's 30 pages? Have I made sure it's the correct font? Have I made sure it's the correct spacing, so that everything is readable and we don't get any auditors taking marks off? Did I make a plan? Am I sharing some of the load in regard to getting other people involved? And have I left? If I have a plan, have I left enough time to do this entry? Sometimes we see entries which look like they've been rushed, and in talking with some of the operators, I know some of my clients, when I talk to them about their entry, there's very little time for the entry. The sooner you can get into this, and to be quite honest, this is why we've done this early one this year for first timers. The sooner you can get into this, the less onerous task it is, because you have time to work on these things, which are very involved. Check the spelling and grammar. As I said, it is really important. When you win your category, which I'm sure some of you are going to win a category, hopefully all of you, but when you win a category, you are then going to be the Queensland representative at the National Awards, right? It's pretty good on its own. If you don't win the National Awards, you're going to be a pretty high-ranking high-ranking product in the industry. You're going into the National Awards. It needs to be a professional document, so make sure that spelling and grammar are absolutely spot on. Answer all question parts. It has 4 parts. Have I answered 4 parts? And is that clearly defined on the page? Can you see, not necessarily this is the answer to question A or B or C, but it is really clear that I'm answering the question. Keep descriptions succinct. Sometimes we see a lot of extra waffle, or that's probably a cruel or unkind way of putting it, but information that judges don't need. To say detail like I went on the Tourism Queensland mission to China. Tourism Queensland is the state authority, statutory authority. The judges know all that detail. So really think about, is this detail that the judge needs to know? Because I'm using up space that I could be saying some great things about my product rather than giving the judge information that they just don't require. Remember the one read rule. So when you've written it, if you've rather get someone to read through it and does that, you can then discuss with them after. This is what I was trying to say. Did I get the message across there? Keep information consistent. Make sure it's consistent throughout the document, and that you've used appropriate images for what you're talking about on that page. Make sure they're good quality images. We sometimes get images that look like they've been taken by somebody's phone. So the read carefully. I can't emphasize enough, because it then becomes a secondary checklist that you've done all of the above. Utilize QTIC services. I'll go through some of the services, but QTIC provide an incredible range of services to help you, A, enter the awards, B, win the awards, and C, leverage the awards once you've won. So make sure you use those. I quite often see people win an award and then I don't see strong, including some of my own accounts, strong usage of that great tool that you've got, that you've been, your achievement. Have I incorporated these things into my operations? As I started off by saying, a lot of these things are very involved, so require time and effort. So if I'm only using them for the awards, those scales go out again. I need to be saying, when I'm this part of the award submission, how can I use that in the general management of my business? And again, then you get an internal leverage on what you're doing. So you've answered everything you've answered all the questions. You've checked off on the checklist. You've done everything. You've followed to the nth degree. Will this ensure that you get into the finalist area? Well, no, but it will ensure that you're in with a chance. If you don't do those things, there are lots of very smart operators in Queensland and then nationally that do follow those things, that do have the checklist and do make sure they do that, and they continually win, as you see them win numerous times and eventually go into the Hall of Fame, etc. But it will definitely mean, if you have those disciplines, that you're in with a chance. Now, just to talk about the accreditation, this is the first year that the accreditation has been part of the process. I'm just trying to look up here on my side screen. Katie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. I've unlocked one of the microphones for those of you didn't realise, and that's Katie from QTIC. We're just going to talk about the accreditation program. Before we give any detail on it, and it's probably best with this area that you go onto the website and really read through. The accreditation side of accreditations becoming involved with the awards process is a national component, if you like. Each year, the various state bodies that are involved with the tourism awards, the QTICs in other states, look at continually how to raise that bar of professionalism in the industry. And what's been developed over a couple of years, a number of the other states have already initiated this in previous years. We're doing it in Queensland this year to follow on. I think there's still a couple of states to initiate it. That organisations are certified organisations in some form, depending on where they are. And so, for instance, if you're a caravan park, that you're an accredited with the Caravan Park Industry Association, etc., etc. Go into the website, have a look at these, have a look at the range of accreditation systems that you can be involved in. It is a requirement in the awards entry. You don't have to be accredited at the time of your entry, but you will need to be accredited at the time of judging. So you should get started on that fairly quickly. I've had some of my clients say, oh, is this another task we have to do? Don't look at it as a task. Look at it as that whole thing of our industry trying to raise that bar and look more professional. Makes us stronger with especially federal government, where we're constantly trying to get recognition of the importance of our industry. Look at it as a strong tool that you will be able to use in your business, not just in the awards. And you will find that there's an appropriate association according to your section of the industry. Katie, do you have any other points on that? So I'm not an expert on the accreditation.
No, it sounds like you covered everything. Yeah, like we said, we've tried to.
I mean, it's not a hard part of the thing, but again, it's another demonstration of our industry, constantly becoming more. It also makes it sometimes our industry's dragged down, not by the type of people I'm speaking to today, because the fact you're actually entering the awards, as I mentioned before, indicates your level of professionalism and wanting to raise your standard of service. So not virtually preaching to the converted, but this type of program stops what we would call the shonky operators coming into our industry and talking, allowing consumers to talk down maybe a product that's in your category. So I believe, certainly finding with my own accounts, with my own business, the operators in Queensland and around Australia and overseas that I work with, anywhere where we can get more of a heart association type tick, I think is the better. And as you can see from some of the titles around this page, there's some great opportunities there for us to easily do this. It's not as hard as it used to be to portray to consumers that accreditation type process. So let's just say you all win, right? So you'll win your own category. How do you enhance that? What do you do with it? And this is a very, very important part. A, because it makes it more worthwhile in your entry, but B, because of missed opportunity. So you win. What you need to do before you go to that awards ceremony, you don't know you've won, is have a media statement drafted. So don't wait till, just be very positive. You're going to go and you're going to win. Have it ready to go. All somebody's got to do is hit a button. Also allows you to spend a bit of time thinking about what you'd say and having a nice, concise, quick document. If you've got to write something on the run, you tend to write War and Peace. You tend to write a large document. Be ready for interviews. You're going to go out the back and have your photograph taken, and somebody might shove a microphone in front of your face, or stick a microphone in front of your face, and ask you for a comment about how you feel about the win. Or somebody might have a pen and pad there and say, I'm from a publication, what do you have to say? If you're umming and ahhing, you don't tend to be the one that they write or produce online. So practice in front of the mirror or in front of the family about what you'd say to the media. It's more important than that little speech everybody has on the microphone in front of the stage, because this goes to a much wider audience. Promptly respond to the media. So when you get back to your product, either the next day or on the Monday morning or whatever, and there's emails there from the local paper or the radio station or Brisbane papers, respond promptly. So have everything ready to go, because it's a very short time span that opportunity is available for. And announce on social media. Have it ready to go on social media that night. It's often good to have it ready to go and be hitting it from your table at the awards ceremony. Show excitement about it on the QTA Facebook page. It's there for you. It's one of those many facilities that I told you about with QTIC being available. Katie, I'm getting lots of warning signs. So I think we might be. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. Okay, I'll keep going.
It's going to end.
Yeah, lots of red dots appearing. So, email your customer database. If you've got a customer database, have an email ready to go that evening. We've just won the award in their category. You know, things like telling your customers you've won it because of them, because of their business, has made you a successful part of the industry. It's very rewarding to the customer, and it wins you lots of brownie points with your own customer. Maybe offer a loyal customer deal. We've just won the award, and we won it because all our great customers coming back. So for the month of November, we'd like to offer you, in celebration of this award, a 10% discount to come and once again visit an award-winning project. Offer you announce it on your website. I have a little habit of going into everybody's website the day after the awards, a week after the awards, and I still find that there's many people where there's no sign on their own website that they're now an award-winning product. There's ones that don't have it on from last year, never mind about the week. Immediately brief your RTO if they weren't at the evening. Let all the marketing team there. Don't forget your LTO. Let them know of your success, and then also your visitor information centre. Great idea. Take the gong down there and have it on the counter or behind the counter at the visitor information centre. It makes them very proud that they've got a state award winner, best in their category, in the region that they're promoting. Very, very strong leverage there available. Thank the category sponsor. If in your category, Queensland Airports sponsors a category, send them an email. Say how thank them for sponsoring, and how grateful you are, and it's again that broader industry recognition as you're one of the leaders now of the industry. Include your team in all of the above. Make sure your team are fully aware, A, of your entry, B, to be involved in the entry, but very importantly, if you've won, that they're made to feel that they achieved this, that there's ownership there. There's no business like show business. Be a show off. Don't be embarrassed about bragging rights. The wine industry are sensational at this. I don't know how many times I've bought a bottle of wine where it's not a gold winner, it's a bronze winner, but they put the sticker on the bottle. It's vital that you get that recognition with the consumer. I go into a lot of accounts and a lot of small, medium, large businesses, and I often go in, and this is the view I get behind the general manager's desk. And the first question I always ask is, you won the award. Do all your consumers. Get it out there in the foyer. Not the general manager doesn't need to look at it every day. The consumers do. Have it in a glass case or on the wall or wherever is prominent to your consumer. It enhances your overall experience. I've arrived. I'm about to go on Skyrail. I'm about to get in this four-wheel drive. I'm about to go on this train. And look, it's an award-winning product. They actually get on your product with a different mindset than if you just don't have anything. I've given here just an example. This is one of my accounts where everything they do, this is just the bottom of one of their newsletters or web pages or anything. This is a banner they stick on everything they do. So they're constantly reminding people. I'm sorry, I haven't updated this just from 2011, 2012, when we were doing some work together. I've got it on my computer. They constantly do it as they win. And again, it's that reinforcement of how successful you are. Social media. I mentioned before, and as how much effort QTIC go to try and assist our industry in Queensland here, with ease of entry, with ending up with a great entry, with hopefully ending up with a winner, and hopefully going to the national awards. And you can see from this list, just on social media, the amount of assistance you can get. If you don't use these, if you don't have at least a quick look at them, you're missing out on great opportunity there. All of those comments are there about the people that have been successful in Queensland, and it's a great thing that those people are willing to share with you. Sometimes will be some of their competitors the next year. How the thing has benefited them, and probably encourage you to enter and maybe go as opposition to them. So I applaud the broad-mindedness, if you like, or assistance that the industry have given. But if you look here on every area of social media, QTIC have an opportunity there, and please utilise that. Otherwise, you're missing out on a great opportunity. So what about if you don't win? Well, if you've taken my note from before and involved members of your team in this process, either in the process of entering and the process of maybe recognition of them in the entry with things like, for instance, customer service, it's really important that if you don't win, you don't just go back to the product and not have any communication with them about that your team is thanked. I know with products I've worked with, we have a sausage sizzle one night for the staff and just thank them and explain to them that we were right there, we were a finalist or whatever. We didn't win this year, but this isn't the end. We're gonna have a go next year. So then imagine yourself being in that. Talk them through the fact that there's a lot of effort went into it, but that made us a better product anyway. Even though we didn't come home with the trophy, just the process of us doing it better, of them being involved, has improved our business. If you decide to go in the next year, it will make it easier for you. You've got a team supporting, as against if it's unsuccessful and they just don't hear. It just fades away. So that's the end of our presentation today. We've now reached question time, and I don't actually have any questions that anybody's listed anyway. So if you have questions, if you could type them in while we're waiting for that. Katie, have you got any other points that I've missed out on?
No, Mike, I think you've done very well in explaining it all. Like I said, with the accreditation, it's, we make it quite broad, so all types of businesses are able to find something for them. And yeah, you've got till you submit on the 18th of August to get that finalised. So,
oh yes, sorry.
it's quite a synergy from accreditation and QTA, so it's not, while you're still putting in that effort, there's a lot of crossover. So
yes.
Good.
Katie, I still have no questions. I hope it's not that all these dots is not that people can't ask questions. Let me try one person that's got a dot next to it and see if Ruth, are you still there? Ruth?
Pardon?
Is that Ruth? Maybe I've lost Ruth. I'll just try one. Judy, are you there? No, I think the ones with the red dots maybe have lost connection.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I've got a question from Sharon McNally. Just checking. It won't open. Let's see if I can talk to Sharon. Sharon, are you there? Sharon McNally?
Is she able to type the question there, Mike?
I think she has actually. I just can't open it. It's got the first line. Just checking. Oh, just checking. You mentioned spelling. Yeah. I don't know because I can't talk to Sharon. What questions? See if I can expand that a bit. Just checking. You mentioned spelling mistakes was Sharon's question. I'm not sure what the question was, Sharon, but what I was saying about spelling, probably it's just in the general presentation of the document. We often get down to whereby entries are so close that three judges are tied up between with points with a number of entries, and it actually requires rejudging by another three judges so that it's fair. And where documents are that close, there's usually pretty fine lines to who wins and who doesn't, or maybe who gets gold and who gets bronze or silver. Having two documents that are very similar, but one has spelling or grammar in, naturally, then it gets down to that of saying the presentation of this for a national awards. This one doesn't have those spelling or grammar mistakes. So I don't know whether that answers you, Sharon, but all I can say is spelling is very very important. I would look at it like you look at your brochure going out to the consumer. You would make sure that there's no grammar or spelling mistakes in there, and you really need to do the same with that. I've got one here. I hope that answers you, Sharon. Sharon, I think I've read the second part of the question. It's on two different lines further down the page. Do these deduct points? There's no auditor points deducted because auditors don't read every word in the document, so they actually wouldn't know if there's spelling mistakes in there. It's only the judges, and it would only affect in that way that I just said. There is nobody going through saying two spelling mistakes, therefore you lose 3 points or whatever. So no, it's not an actual deduction, but it does affect you if you have them. Just hang on. I've got some more questions coming through. If you are accredited with your own industry, why is this not accepted? Katie, do you have anything to say on that? It needs to be one of those recognised organisations, doesn't it, Katie?
It does. So they're basically all the main ones across our industry that they would use. I'm not quite sure what you mean in terms of what other accreditations you might be talking about.
Yeah. Luana, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Maybe if you contact Katie or Gemma at QTIC, discuss that a little further, because I'll be able to look up for you. Because this is new, I can't really answer that, and I also don't know which organisations you're talking about. But yeah, it might be. Sharon's got no mic. Okay, yeah, she just said thanks. So she'll be contacting you, Katie. Or
Okay, that'd be great.
yeah,
Gemma will be
with those ones, because there's probably a solution there.
Yeah.
It's just checking anybody else coming. Oh, hang on. She just said she's accredited with the diving industry.
Diving industry, okay.
So you can check up on that for her, and maybe. Yeah.
Sorry, what was the name again?
Luana Royal.
No worries. I'll get Gemma to contact her tomorrow.
Super. There you go, Luana. It'll be solved for you. We'll sort it out. Okay. I don't think there's any more questions. Yes. No. That's it. So, guys, thanks for attending today and giving your time. I hope you found it productive. The notes are all on your emails now, because my team actually sent them out 15 minutes before we started. So they'll be there. If you do have any questions, you want to phone me, my number's on the email by all means. But I'm sure the team at QTIC can best answer a lot of your questions. I hope you found it productive. I think it's very encouraging that new entrants, we've got so many people online that are interested in really making a difference in our industry. To me, it's inspiring, and I wish you all the best of luck. And I hope on that night, I've got the list. I'll have it in my pocket of who attended this, and it would give me great pleasure to walk over to your table and congratulate you on your winning, either at the state awards and then on at the national awards. Of course, if you do win, I'll claim credit for it with this magnificent webinar we've done today. But best of luck, and thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Bye.